The Adventures of Chatterer the Red Squirrel. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. And now, The Adventures of Chatterer the Red Squirrel by Thornton W. Burgess. Chapter 19. Peter Rabbit Tries to Help. Peter Rabbit is one of the kindest-hearted little people of the Green Forest and of the Green Meadows. He is happy-go-lucky, and his dreadful curiosity is forever getting him into all kinds of trouble. Perhaps it is because he has been in so many scrapes himself that he always feels sorry for those who get into trouble. Anyway, no sooner does Peter hear of someone in trouble than he begins to wonder how he can help them. So just as soon as he found out for himself that Sammy Jay had told the truth about Chatterer really being in a prison at Farmer Brown's house, he began to think to find some way to help Chatterer.
Now, of course, Peter didn't know what kind of prison Chatterer was in. He remembered right away how Prickly Porky the porcupine had gnawed a great hole in the box in which Johnny Chuck's lost baby was kept by Farmer Brown's boy.
Why shouldn't Prickly Porky do as much for Chatterer? He would go see him at once. The trouble with Peter is that he doesn't think of all sides of a question. He is impulsive. That is, he goes right ahead and does the thing that comes into his head first, and sometimes this isn't the wisest or best thing to do. So now he scampered down into the Green Forest as fast as his long legs would carry him to hunt for Prickly Porky. It was no trouble at all to find him, for he had only to follow the line of trees that had been stripped of their bark.
Good afternoon, Prickly Porky. Have you heard the news about Chatterer?
Yes, serves him right. I hope it will teach him a lesson.
Don't you think it's dreadful? Just think, he will never be able to run and play in the Green Forest again, unless we can get him out.
So much the better. He always was a nuisance. Never did see such a fellow for making trouble for other people. No, sir, I never did. The rest of us can have some peace now. Serves him right.
Peter's heart sank. He scratched one long ear slowly with a long hind foot, which is the way he was when he is thinking very hard. He was so busy thinking that he didn't see the twinkle in the dull little eyes of Prickly Porky, who really was not so hard-hearted as his words sounded. After a long time, during which Peter thought, and Prickly Porky ate and ate, the latter spoke again.
What have you got on your mind, Peter?
I was just thinking how perfectly splendid it would be if you would go up there and gnaw a way out of his prison for Chatterer.
Ha! Some folks think my wits are pretty slow, but even I know better than that. Put on your thinking cap again, Peter Rabbit.
Why can't you? You are not afraid of Bowser the Hound or Farmer Brown's boy, and everybody else except Jimmy Skunk.
For the very good reason that if I could gnaw into his prison, Chatterer could gnaw out. If he can't gnaw his way out with those sharp teeth of his, I certainly can't gnaw in. Where's your common sense, Peter Rabbit?
That's so. I hadn't thought of that. I must try to think of some other way to help Chatterer.
I'd be willing to try it if it was of any use, but it isn't.
Porky didn't want Peter to think that he really was as hard-hearted as he had seemed at first. So Peter bade Prickly Porky goodbye and started for the dear old briar patch to try to think of some other way to help Chatterer. On the way, he woke up Billy Possum and Bobby Coon, but they couldn't give him any help.
There really doesn't seem to be any way I can help.
And there really wasn't.
And this is the end for this chapter.